many of you are football fans in here? Anybody? Football fans? You guys remember this play in the Seahawks a couple years ago in the Super Bowl?
Interception.
Interception instead of a touchdown, with Marshawn Lynch sitting in the background after he had 100 yards and a touchdown already in the game. This was the reaction of sports media across the globe. This is the reaction of Seahawks players, and this is the reaction of Patriots players, right, when that play happened. This is also a reaction from some of the Seahawks fans.
You don't throw a pass when you have Marshawn Lynch.
What was that?
You do not throw a pass at the goal line when you have Marshawn Lynch. That's the game?
We're on a mission to change that fan experience, all right? Fan engagement, not a new idea. 1951, Bill Beck hosted Grandstand Night. This is in a real Major League Baseball game for the Cleveland Indians. He let fans in the stands hold up cards to decide how they called this game. 1980, something called the Cube system was developed. This was for cable. It actually let fans at home call plays for real football games. They tried it a couple times in minor league football games. Never really caught on, and kind of ahead of its time, right? So they scrapped the system. Timing's everything. In life, in sports, in anything you do, timing is everything. We decided that the time was now to kind of bring these ideas back and put fans in control. So 2015, we bought a team in the Indoor Football League, 10-team league in the Midwest and Pacific Northwest. And we decided to let fans make all the decisions. So fans actually picked Salt Lake City for us out of 5 different cities. Came down to Oklahoma City and Salt Lake. We let fans vote. Fans picked Salt Lake City. We needed a name for our team. We almost ended up with Teamy McTeamface or the Stormin' Mormons. Thank God fans got a little smarter after that, and we ended up with the Salt Lake Screamin' Eagles. And they designed that logo. So this was all fan generated. Tens of thousands of fans across the country participated. We actually let fans make all the decisions. So they picked our mascot, they picked our cheerleaders, they hired our coaches, they picked our players. This was literally a real life version of Madden, right? And then on February 16th, 2017, we actually let fans call all of the plays in real time for our team. This is a screenshot from the app and a tweet from one of our fans. He scored a touchdown on the play that he called. How did we do in that first game? Got our butts kicked, actually, 78-47. But if you actually dive into the stats, offensively, fans were really good. We didn't let fans call the defense. Fans only called the offense. So we held our own when it came to letting fans call plays. We had Slate cover this. The future of sports might just be the Screaming Eagles, letting fans call plays. This is a text I received from one of our fans in Australia. He called a touchdown in Salt Lake City watching the game in Australia from his app. This is a guy, GQ writer, who's following the team. He called a touchdown from the back of a taxi cab. So the idea here was to kind of change the way fans get to participate and interact with sports, and give them a way to do that from wherever they are, which is on this device right here. We also track fan stats. So fans called plays in real time through the whole game, and then we track their stats. So if they called a play and that's the play we ran on the field, and we got 6 rushing yards, they got 6 rushing yards. If they scored a touchdown, they got a touchdown. So at the end of the game, end of the season, we had leaderboards and fans doing all that. We had coverage all over the place. Again, timing's everything, right? So New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, GQ, these are a few of the things. Mark Cuban even said the ultimate fantasy football crowdsourcing game. So we captured the imagination of fans, we captured the imagination of the media, and we ended up getting an opportunity to build this on Twitch. So we talked to Twitch a couple games into our season. Twitch said, hey, we love it, we're looking at moving into live sports. We think what you guys are doing is perfect for our platform. We're a gaming platform, we want to move into live sports. You guys are putting games and sports together. Come do it on Twitch. So we actually integrated play calling in the Twitch chat. So you can see these, actually this is a call for, we ran a Buffalo Wild Wings promotion. So these guys are all voting for Buffalo Wild Wings. But here you can see play call finished, fans voted Run Jet Blast. and then here's the next play call. There were 4 play calls. So this is all fully integrated into the Twitch platform. This is an overlay. So we actually had fan stats instead of player stats. So this is the fans calling the plays at home, and we're keeping track of their stats, and then a ticker at the bottom of the screen as you're watching the game. You get to see your name go by, not the quarterback's name or not the wide receiver's name. We surveyed our top 2,000 fans at midseason to see what they thought. 100 of them intended to call 100% intended to call plays all season. 71% used the app outside of game day. 83% called plays remotely. And what's interesting, we were in the indoor football league. Anybody ever heard of the indoor football league? Nobody, right? Even the football fans in this room haven't heard of the indoor football league. So we realized, we drove 70% of the people using our app had never heard of the indoor football league, but were interested in calling plays and being part of sports, and brought them as fans to the game itself. We had millions of views across Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. 19,000 plays called a game from around the world. Engagement from literally 100 different countries. Right. This is became the NFL and American football is obviously a very American sport. But we got engagement from fans across the country who were interested in the game itself. We ended up with, after a 16-game season, the fan-run team was the number 3 offense in a 10-team league, with 9 other teams coached by professionals. Our quarterback, Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, fan-run quarterback, right? So if you remember that, let's see if I can get the sound to work on this one. You remember that video at the beginning? That was the fan experience when coaches call plays. This is the fan experience when fans call plays.
Hey guys, we've got another one of our offensive coordinators up here. This is Ben. This is Noel. 4th down, big play. What are you calling?
I'm going to pass. We still got 11 yards to go. I don't want to see him kick yet. I want to see him pass it in.
Kind of a rough start out there, but it seems to be coming back now. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty encouraged. Fans are doing pretty well to get a couple of good drives in there. We're getting better.
All right, Ben and Noel, thanks very much. Enjoying the game in 117. Let's see this 4th down.
Screaming Eagles going for it here. Verlon Reed drops back, lots of pressure, looking deep into the end zone. Yes, touchdown! What a great fan play call. What a great fan
play call. So you can see that reaction in him holding his phone, right? So he called that touchdown. Now, it didn't matter that there were thousands of other people that called the touchdown as well. As a fan, when you call the play, you have a connection to the game that you've just never had before, right? So after that experience in the Indoor Football League, our original thought was we were going to change the Indoor Football League to the Interactive Football League, buy more teams, license our platform. What we realized after playing a full season was that we needed to actually control the game itself. We needed to make changes. We wanted this to be a digital-first league. We're now creating something we call the Fan-Controlled Football League. This is the first sports league literally designed for the digital fan, not the fan in the arena, the fan sitting at home, the fans on their phone. Put them in control the action on the field, control the action off the field, right? Let them hire the coaches, pick the players, call the plays in real time. And everything else, right? This is an opportunity for fans to really create a league from the ground up. 7-on-7 game, it's indoor, small rosters. We're also doing something different. We're putting all the teams in one location, and they're all going to be playing in a production studio rather than an arena. So we'll have a television studio audience, 1,200, 1,500 people. But again, this is a production and a game for fans at home on their mobile devices. And we're going to do 1-hour games, so that's the other thing. So make this more like a video game. You don't have to set aside half your day to watch football. Watch for an hour, call plays, have fun, and then go on with your life. Now, what does this have to do with blockchain and crypto? About a year ago, we were going to go down the traditional fundraising route. I started going down the crypto rabbit hole. So for any of you in this room that have done that, you don't really come out of the crypto rabbit hole. I'm still down there and I'm still going further. But what I realized was something called tokenization. So if you understand that, there's really an opportunity for the right projects, and I think Zen is a great example as well, and you talk about kind of token economics. For the right projects, having your own token is really powerful, right? And if you look at what we're doing, at the end of the day, we're creating a real-life video game, right? This is an opportunity for fans to control real-life sports, but like they would with a video game. In video games, you're always looking for tokens or collecting gems or gold or some sort of digital asset. So it made a lot of sense to tokenize the league. So what we decided to do was create what we call the Fan Access Network and the Fan Token. this is our suite of products, right? So all these fan engagement tools that we've created and designed to help run leagues and run teams that are controlled by the fans. Also built on the blockchain, and the unit of power will be the fan token. So as a fan, the more tokens you own, the more tokens you earn as you participate, the higher up in the rankings you're going to move, and the more voting power you're going to have, the more access you're going to have to the team, the more opportunities you're going to have for unique opportunities and fan experiences. So, and then it's also going to be the currency, right? So as in the league itself, you can buy merchandise and you can buy tickets and you can buy. We have something called the virtual front office, so it's a subscription-based model, so you can subscribe to that as well. So I talked about tokenization. The other thing is transparency. We actually had an opportunity to bring a very prominent NFL player to our team in Salt Lake City last year, a guy by the name of Greg Hardy. He'd been blacklisted in the NFL because he had some issues off the field. No general manager or coach would bring him into the NFL anymore, but it's a 27-year-old guy who was an all-pro defensive end. So we had a chance to bring him in, but it was a fan-controlled team. So what we did was we let fans vote. It was a public vote. If the fan said yes, Greg Hardy joined our team. If the fan said no, Greg Hardy didn't join our team. Fans voted 50.1% no. So we didn't bring Greg Hardy. I really wanted to bring Greg Hardy. We got a lot of press if Greg Hardy had showed up, and a lot of people would have been watching. But what happened was the 49.9% of people that voted yes, they questioned the vote. They said, oh, this was a publicity stunt. You guys rigged this. You were never going to bring Greg Hardy in the first place. So what does blockchain do? It also gives us transparency in the voting, right? We're putting the careers of players and the careers of coaches in the hands of fans, right? Which is already a crazy idea. Now, if you can't trust the vote, you're not going to get players and coaches to come. So we're putting this in the hands of the fans, and we're providing transparency in the voting process, so everybody in that ecosystem can trust the vote and understand what happened. In December of last year, in 2017, we were the first token offering on Indiegogo. They created a new platform. You can check it out. It's ico.indiegogo.com. We raised $5.2 million. This was a Reg C, a Reg D, a Reg S, and a Reg CF combination, all through a SAFT. We had an opportunity to get some great publicity and go out and raise that money. And the idea here is to build what we call the Fan Access Network, which is going to be not just for the fan-controlled football league, but we believe the future of sports is interactive. We want to create the fan-controlled baseball league. We want to create the fan-controlled cricket league, the fan-controlled soccer league. Anywhere where we can get fans involved in the game itself and give them a way to connect to the game in a way that they haven't before, that's our goal. As far as use of funds goes, as you can see here, we've got a lot of different things. We need about 30% of the funds to actually build the league. League's going to be located in Las Vegas. Haven't announced it publicly yet, but we have a couple of really big partnerships. One we just signed on Friday with, I don't know if anybody's familiar with CAA, Creative Arts Agency, one of the largest agencies in the country. So CAA is going to be representing the league, bringing talent into the league, selling our our television linear rights for the league itself. And then the other partnership, which will be announced soon, is with one of the biggest broadcasters on the streaming side. And it'll be a multi-year broadcast deal. So we'll have tens of millions of eyeballs potentially on the league with those couple of deals. Investors and advisors go across sports and blockchain. Andy Dolich, former CEO of the 49ers, Stephen Narioff, co-creator of Ethereum, Manish Jha, actually lives here in Manhattan Beach, former head of mobile at the NFL, Chuck Taylor does innovation at Caesars, and then Galia is a co-founder of Bancor, and Mark Ira is the CMO of FanDuel, and last but not least, Matt Wolf, who VP of Entertainment at Coca-Cola. Before that was at Sega for about 8 years. Really a big gamer and understands that business really well. The team itself, I've got a couple of co-founders, Patrick, Ray, and Grant. All of us have had, actually Ray played in the NFL, so actually played 5 years in the NFL before going on to a pretty successful acting and entrepreneurial career. We've all raised tens of millions of dollars together, have had a couple of successful exits. It isn't our first rodeo in terms of building startups and doing this the right way. Steve Adler was at the NFL and digital media exec here. And Jen, sitting right here, has had a prolific career in sports and marketing, and joined us recently as our Chief Marketing Officer. Happy to answer any questions you guys have. Look, we are changing the future of sports. We've created this project. We're now moving into almost year 4 of what we're building here with the Fan Controlled Football League and the Fan Access Network. And I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has on what we're doing.
You guys do any partnerships on the virtual reality side, since it's very spread out across the world?
Yeah, so great question. Any partnerships on the virtual reality side? We're actually looking at, as I mentioned, rather than doing an arena, we're doing more like a production studio. And the idea is to look at that production studio more like a sports tech incubator. So we're going to be inviting startups and established companies from all over the world to have access to our league, which is all being played in one facility. And then we're going to be VR, AR. Last year we actually had 2 drones flying in the air doing live video. We're going to do sensors and wearables on all the guys. We're going to make that data available for people to build on top of that. And so the idea is we want to create a community around this league and then around sports with all of the big and latest and greatest tech to really kind of. We don't necessarily want to become the developmental league for players, although we'd love to see our players go play in the NFL after they play a couple years in our league. But we really want to be the developmental league for technology. That's at the end of the day where I think our secret sauce is going to be.
How do the players actually like fans?
So, interestingly enough, it basically weeds players out from the beginning. They all knew what they were going to get into. So half of the players that would have come out just didn't even come try out, right? The guys said, oh, this is a dumb idea. They didn't come try out. The guys that came and tried out were interested and excited. And if you really think about it, our average age of our player was about 22, 23 years old, right? These are guys right out of college. They all grew up playing Madden. They all grew up playing video games. So this is nothing new to them. This idea of interactivity and letting fans be involved, this is not something that's a new concept. As far as on the field, it didn't work any different than it would if the coach called the play. Our coach had an iPad. Our fans voted. The vote came to the iPad. The quarterback was right here. He said, all right, that's the play. The quarterback went in and called the play, and they ran the play. So from on-field execution, and as you can see, if we had been the worst offense in the league and we had been a disaster, probably wouldn't be standing here right now. But the fact is, fans were able to call plays successfully, and our team had success when fans called the plays, and so the players were excited about it. They actually liked that interactivity, and it really changed the paradigm. So we had players thanking fans for calling plays, right? So imagine that, right? At the end of a game, 6-year-old comes up to a player and he wants his autograph, and the player looks at the kid and says, hey, thanks for calling my number, thanks for calling that touchdown. It changes that dynamic, and it's something that's magical for a 6-year-old, right? So
You know, there's going to change having no fans, just a silent stadium.
well, we'll have, like I said, we'll have a television studio, and so it'll be 1,200, 1,500 people in there. So, but it'll be a small arena, so it'll feel packed, right? We will absolutely have people, but it just won't be 8,000 or 10,000. It'll be 1,500.
What's the economics of the players, and how does that evolve as you figure out which ones are crushing it?
It's great question, and I'm excited to tell you about it because we've got some really neat things that we can do, especially on Twitch. So in these lower leagues, and this goes kind of across the globe, guys make anywhere from $250 to about $1,000 per game, plus room and board. None of these players are playing this game because they're making money. They're playing it because they want game film so they can go to the next level. They want an opportunity to be seen on tape playing professional football so they can show it to their agent, and their agent can take it to the the Canadian Football League or the NFL or even some of the leagues overseas that are able to pay more money. What's interesting about what we're doing is we're also giving the players a platform. So we're going back to the tech question, we're going to do helmet cameras on mics and on 3 guys on offense and 3 guys on defense every game. Each of those 6 people is going to have their own Twitch stream, right? So now as a fan, I can watch the produced game, and then in the picture-in-picture, I'm seeing a first-person view of this player with a mic, and he's going to be entertaining me for an hour. It's only an hour game. He knows that he's got fans watching him. He's going to be entertaining for an hour. And the opportunity on Twitch is you can tip the streamer. So it'll be that player's stream, and he'll get a chance to be paid by fans. So if he has a big play, a big touchdown, a big sack, a big hit, we're going to change that dynamic so fans can actually support the streamer, which will actually be the players, and we'll rotate that throughout the season. So every player on the field is going to get a chance to have that interaction with fans.
Do you have, say I was watching the league, and is there something that prevent me from going to the team that's not my favorite team and voting for a bad play?
So you'll be locked, great question, you'll be locked into a team. As a fan, you're going to have to pick a team and you're going to be locked into that team for the season. And you won't be able to take your tokens out and put them onto another app. Now, could you have two and you could be calling bad plays every good? Yeah, I think there'll be some gaming going on, but the fact is the leaderboards will be season-long leaderboards. So it would take a lot of people to be doing that to have that type of an impact. So we think for the most part, people are going to be doing and calling plays for the teams that they love, not trying to screw over the teams that they don't. So, but it's possible.
Sure. This is really cool. Do you for the ITO? Is it capped? Like, what's the format?
So we're gonna have we're doing our pre-sale right now, which we're selling 40% of the tokens in the pre-sale and the public sale. So it is capped.
Is it over or is it?
No, the public sale is going to be early April 11th. So
are you like pegging it to the dollar or?
We're targeting a 1 cent token price for the fan token, but we're not setting the ETH exchange rate until 48 hours before the public sale. So as an investor now in the pre-sale, right, you would get, if ETH's to, let's all hope, I'm sure probably everybody in here hopefully has some ETH. If ETH goes to 2,000, you would get credit for 2,000 during the main sale. So as a private investor right now.
And is it capped?
25 million cap. Yeah.
How much do you have so far?
We raised about 8 million so far.
What's the raise for?
Oh, so.
Yeah. When do you kick off the league?
Oh, kick off the league? The league is going to be kicked off either kind of fall, winter this year or spring next year. So one of those two windows. A lot of it depends actually on our broadcast partner. So we're going to, like I said, we have a streaming partner, which doesn't matter, you can put streaming content whenever, but we really want to sell a game of the week on linear television. And so if we can find a broadcast partner on the linear side and they say, hey, this is better in the spring for us than the fall, then we'll push it out. So that's we're a little flexible on the start date for the league itself.
What is your total raise, and can you talk about it? Is it Reg A plus?
So it's currently in the private pre-sale. It's a Reg D, a Reg S, and a Reg CF. We have all three options available. In the public sale, we'll be selling a utility token. So it'll be open to anybody.
Can you go back to the utility of the token and the economic that would sort of need for, I mean, everyone wants these utility tokens to be more used over time and become more scarce, right?
Sure.
You're in the space, you understand that. Can you, I don't know if there's a slide on that or not.
There's not, I'll be happy to talk through it. So
it feels like the most important thing is the token utility.
The token utility, token economics. So on the token utility side, this is, again, voting power in the league. So the more you hold, the higher up you'll be in the leaderboard, and then the more voting power you'll have over your team. It'll also be used for, and that'll be holding, right? So there'll be a staking mechanism in the league, so you can stake your tokens. There will also be a way to increase your voting power by boosts, microtransactions and things like that. You'll also be able to enter contests and things like that with the tokens themselves. It'll also be a currency, so you'll be able to buy unique merchandise and team gear and tickets and fan experiences. Those will only be possible with the fan token itself. Anything that's spent will come back into the pool to be incentivized tokens to go back into the. So the idea is to kind of create circulation, right, in the economy.
There's no burn.
There's no burn. So as far as utility growth goes, we're going to be continually adding more teams and then hopefully more fans to the league, right? So as this expands, there'll be more demand for the token itself. And then the second piece is additional leagues. So I'm actually flying to Korea next week. We're looking at the fan-controlled baseball league, right? So the idea is to create multiple fan-controlled sports around the world, and fan token is the power of all of those leagues. Now we may create a way that we stake fan tokens and then create a sub-token for some of these other leagues, depending on kind of supply and demand. But fan token will always be tied into this ecosystem of fan-controlled sports. It's an ERC20 right now. We're looking at side chains. Our real-time voting, we're going to have thousands of people like we did last year. Hopefully it's tens of thousands of people voting in real time. It's not going to work on Ethereum. So we're looking at EOS and some of the other options out there. Potential side chain for the actual real-time voting, but the player personnel voting and things like that aren't necessarily real-time, that'll be done on Ethereum.
Yeah, you'll crash the network if this
You should look at Raiden.
Raiden?
It's a Lightning network for Ethereum. And Plasma.
Yes, I know Plasma, I haven't heard Raiden, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if we could crash, we don't want to crash the network, so we'll figure out a way to do that.
Sorry, I still want to learn more about the token utility. Like, how many tokens are minted?
6.25 billion.
Billion.
Yeah.
And the reserve again was used for there's partnership reserve.
20% for partnership reserve, 20% for our marketing fund, which is mainly to be incentives in the app itself. That's spread out over 3 years, so we actually we'll release tranches of it every 3 years. And then 20% for the executive team and new hires, and that's also vesting over 3 years. So
is that vested monthly?
Vesting monthly over 3 years.
Is there a lockup?
Yes, 6 month lockup.
Just 6
months. The lockup actually is until we kick off the first game. So that could be 6 months from now, it could be a year from now, depending on when that first kickoff is. So nobody's getting any, on the executive team, nobody's getting anything until that first kickoff.
And so say merch is purchased with the token and shipped to someone.
Sure.
Like there's real USD cost until like those shippers and those t-shirt manufacturers accept your token.
Sure.
Maybe they do, but how do you mix the token world with the physical merch world?
Well, we'll be running the merchandise. So everything will be through our platform. So we'll have a pegged price to the token, the fan token itself, and that'll be our cost, right? So it'll basically we want to bring tokens back into the network. So there'll be basically the cost plus the profit on that will be built in as our marketing budget to bring tokens back in to issue back through the app.
Have you had any kind of economists look at your token utility model to look at like what the expected outcome will be over time?
We are very heavily working on that actually right now. So I mentioned Eyal from Bancor. We're spending some time with him, and then Peter Benessis as well at New Alchemy. Going down tomorrow to San Diego to meet with him and discuss getting him involved.
I'm just curious, and I'm not trying to be devil's advocate because it's such a unique collaborative environment for blockchain. So I can't envision how it's all going to come together and what kind of impact they'll have on the token economy.
I don't want to pretend that I know either, right? I mean, I think we're doing something very new, but there are some mechanics I think that are out there and economics that are out there that'll be baked in to make this work.
It's a governance token, like Augur. They're the hardest to make, but they're the most powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's doable.
Are there any incentives for the players for getting a share of the tokens from the league?
So, yeah, I forgot to mention. So we're actually doing $1 million prize purse for the championship game. So whoever wins the championship game, we put $1 million of fan tokens up, and it's going to be split between the players and the actual top fans of the team. So there's also an incentive as a fan to call plays, right? So the higher up the leaderboard you are, you'll get a chance to share in kind of that $1 million prize purse if your team wins the championship game.
Do you guys have a fantasy sports aspect to it?
Yeah, so on the fantasy side, so I showed kind of that slide where you basically keep your stats. So the idea is to, at the end of every game and at the end of the season, you have fans that are racking up these stats, and that's the fantasy component. We are talking to FanDuel about some potential opportunities. Nothing like, maybe daily fantasy might be the first thing that gets involved. We're going to Vegas for the simple fact that we actually do want to build in a gambling component as well. Obviously in sports, gambling is the #1 deciding factor of whether or not your sport's going to be successful. So we're looking at all those. Not going to have gambling in year one, there's just too much regulatory compliance, but the way sports gambling is going, probably going to be legalized across the country here pretty soon, and that'll give us a real opportunity to kind of change our dynamics on that fantasy and daily fantasy as well. Any other questions? I'm very active on Telegram. If you want to talk to me, I'm at Sohrob F. Feel free to join our Telegram channel as well. You can find it on our website, FCFL.io, and look forward to seeing you guys on there. Thanks for the time.